Is N'Golo Kanté trying to get out of Chelsea? There are reports circulating that he might be interested in a move to Real Madrid and Barcelona. That could come off for him. Who wouldn't be interested, I suppose?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think if you asked most players apart from those playing at those clubs, they'd all be interested in a move to the big clubs. I think we're at the time of the year where these kind of things start surfacing a little bit. The January transfer is looming large. Chelsea have the transfer ban lifted, so effectively people can put 2 and 2 and make 5 because they could sell players and buy players back in. And of course, he been one of the most successful players at Chelsea in recent years, and probably one of the most sought after players at Chelsea, undoubtedly by the big clubs, is obviously going to attract attention. I can't tell you whether he's happy there or not. He's had some injury problems, hasn't played all the time, not playing the defensive role over the last 18 months that he was so successful for before Sarri came in, and obviously for France as well, where he won a World Cup, is that stalwart in front of the back four. And that effectively is something that the two clubs you mentioned, and you did mention them, those two clubs have been searching for that kind of player.
Yes.
The defensive protector who can get around the field and break up the play and is dynamic and is going to allow the rest of the team to go and express themselves. So, it's an easy fit to say one of these clubs would be looking for a player like N'Golo Kanté.
How important would it be in terms of Frank Lampard's ability to replace him? Do you think that if it's a decision that Chelsea say, well, there's a big offer here, whether it be those two, Bayern and Juventus have also been mentioned, he might be attracted to a different challenge at this stage, having spent so much time in England. But how hard would it be to replace him?
Very, because you're leaving yourself with what Jorginho, who's been good, but he's not good defensively. Kovacic, who's in a similar bracket. There really aren't many others. Loftus-Cheek is coming back from injury, but he's an attacking midfielder. Everybody's a sort of attacking. Nobody really does all things now, and he does a bit of everything. You've even seen him getting forward from a more advanced position in the last year or so. But we know his most natural game is in front of the back four. So, by the fact that the two clubs that we're talking about, Real Madrid and Barcelona, haven't really got, well, I would say Busquets has been doing it for Barca, but hasn't got the legs to get around anymore. And Casemiro's been doing it, I suppose, at Real Madrid, but might fit into that same bracket as it's becoming more difficult for him. A lot of teams are searching for a player like that. So if you let that player go, whether the money's good or not, it's very difficult to replace. So it would come down to a decision from Frank Lampard, whether he wants to do it in the club and, of course, the player himself. But I could understand totally if he had his eyes set and going to Spain to one of the big two.
Yeah, and Lampard's made some big decisions in the summer with regards to using younger players to fill his squad out. They had a great start. They're in a rocky patch at the moment. But this would be a big test come January now that the window's really open for him.
Well, ultimately, if Chelsea get in the top four with the transfer ban that they had and an inexperienced manager coming in, it'd be a great season for them, and then they'll be able to go again and try and attract players. But if you were to sell a guy like him and not replace him, it could mean a difference between them dropping from where they are now in fourth spot down into the Europa League positions, because Man United and Tottenham and even teams like Wolves, who have been excellent, I don't expect Sheffield United to be able to keep that going, but even the likes of Wolves that have been super under Nuno Espirito Santo could start putting some pressure on. So it's a fine line between keeping people happy, getting the money in, and selling your best players. Otherwise, you're going to be playing on a Thursday and a Sunday next year. And that's not what Lampard or Chelsea need.
Yeah, I can imagine that he'll be making those points to the board as well as Chelsea deliberate on what to do with their existing squad and, of course, how to strengthen it, not weaken it.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.